Hello and welcome to Moviedrone. Going to be a bit different this week. Basically, the pitch call, I'm not 100% sure what the pitch call is going to be like. I'm recording this on a HD cam. Best I can get. So what you get is what you get. But I am of course a UK guy. I do not live in America. A lot of people watching this will probably Americans. I am personally American. I'm personally British. I'm wearing a New York t-shirt, I will admit, but that's only because I'm too lazy to change before I start recording, for one thing. It's very hot today in the UK, so. I'm recording this on 22nd of December 2018. This is the very first show. There are two shows going up today. The second one we'll be talking about, if you watch these in order, you'll know. I'll put this episode 1 and the next one will go up, episode 2, obviously. I'm actually doing 3 films today to start Moviedrone. I'm doing Moviedrone because Moviedrone, the classic BBC show that was shown back in the decade, a couple of days ago, nearly 2 decades ago, nearly 2 decades now, I suppose, since it finished. It's in 2000. Basically, Moviedrome was an excellent movie show that got me into movies. Generally got me into movies. There was another show with Jonathan Ross called the Something Incredibly Strange Film Show, which was before that. But the one that really got me into, really balls me into becoming a movie buff, was Moviedrone. And as a fan, I wanted to start my own show based around the concept of introducing people to movies that may or may not want to go out and check out for themselves. That's essentially what it's all about. For the next 15 weeks, I did used to do a podcast, and I was doing movies as well, doing pretty much similar to what I'm doing here. Well, I was basically going on doing movies every week and saying basically what I thought of them. After watching them each week, I would say on the podcast what I thought of them. Sometimes I write the odd review online. You can find them on Letterboxd. It can be on Letterboxd doing views. I'm under the name here, James Peter Cox. I think that's what my name is. Apologies if you have to correct that. If I have to end up correcting that, comments below if I fuck that up. I'll give up. I'll send the link down below. Letterboxd link down below who I am, so you'll see my reviews on there if you're interested in reading my more commercial reviews. Not that commercial, as you'll find out when you look at them. But Moviedrone is basically about the really weird movies that have been released. Really weird, or just really do not get talked about often types of movies. That's what I'm here for. That's what Moviedrone's about. That's what of course, anyone wants to see Moviedrone. I'm going to do a bit slightly different from how Alex Cox and Mark Cousins done it back in the day. They actually got really in depth because the internet didn't exist. The internet didn't exist back then. Nobody had a way in hell being able to connect to the films and know. Unless you had Moviedrone, you couldn't get. There's a good chance you wouldn't be able to access these films very easily. Sad truth is, we now live in the year 2018. I'm doing this show trying to say, hey, guess what? These films exist. And there's a good chance you still won't be able to find these films unless you know where to look. I think that's wrong. I personally think that's ridiculous and completely unforgivable in this day and age. It's all due to copyright greed. I'm here to strongly defend the right for people to be able to watch anything they want, just as long as the film's a certain amount of years old. If a film is a certain amount of films old, and someone has a copy, they should be freely allowed to share it online on YouTube without any copyright bullshit whatsoever. Because after all, if the film's not freely available, and it's only available on a certain format, it should be available for free for everyone to watch. Simple as that. It's called public domain, and that's the way it should be. A lot of at the time it isn't. And that pisses me the right off. That's another thing I'm here to do. Talk about films that are going to be a lot of these films you just won't be able to find unless you know where to look. I suppose you could say I'm strongly urging people to freaking look for these films for themselves because studios aren't going to bother. Studios aren't going to help. I don't see how really interested in releasing. There is some genuine people who own the rights to these films who I think doing a show like this. Hopefully they'll watch this show and they'll go, I've got the rights to that. I think it's time I could release this movie onto a special site. That'd be great. That'd be a great way to introduce people to these types of movies. It's essentially what I'm here for. Well, to start with, this is the revolution, people. The revolution starts here. Maybe, who knows? Anyway, let's start with something that isn't freely available. I'll start with something easy. We'll start with something that is freely available and it's actually just being released on Arrow. Hell, I even bought the Blu-ray. Definitely so I could do the review properly. The Quiet Earth from 1985. Now, I first saw this movie back in the 80s. I believe it was the 80s, possibly the early 90s. I'm going to say the 80s. I'm going to say the very tail end of the 80s. Whenever it was premiered on BBC One or BBC, I'm assuming since this is the Quiet Earth, it was BBC Two where they showed it. I'm assuming BBC Two. Really going back here. I'm really going back here, so I've no idea if I'm sure about it. I do know what a great film it was, and I do remember a lot of people. I was in high school and I saw it. Next day when we went to high school, people were talking about it. I remember people were talking about it and asking me questions. I wasn't much to talk about them, but the people asking me questions, asking me about the film, and asking me what the ending was all about. They didn't know. I didn't know what the ending was all about. What the hell, mate? I'm assuming because I had religious parents, they thought I was religious too. I wasn't. I was an atheist even back then. But my parents were religious. They thought, oh, you're religious. Do you think what was the religious thing they were talking about? What was the ending about? What the hell was that going on? Was it a religious context or whatever? To this day, till now, I couldn't answer that question. Decades later, I finally got an answer because I actually listened to a commentary, not from this guy on here. There's actually a commentary. There's actually a commentary that's not on this one. This unfortunately not available on this one. I did manage to find it. That actually explains the ending, and it's very interesting and worth listening about. I'm listening about. Unfortunately, it's also a major spoiler. So if you don't want to be spoilt, fast forward the video about 2 minutes. Starting now, and I'll tell you the ending. What the ending was. Their idea for the ending was this, essentially. The original ending is basically that the guy died. He originally did die. He died. He committed suicide. Actually, two of them. They all committed. Well, two of them committed suicide. Possibly no, and one of them almost got murdered. One of them died when he was getting murdered. The other two. Well, spoiler alert. There's 3 people in this altogether, which is handy in casting, I suppose. It's only literally 3 people in the entire film, because after we're talking about an end-of-war scenario. Basically, when they died, they went into another universe where the Earth is completely deserted, besides those few people. I'm assuming it's to do with suicide or some stuff like that, something like that. They also have a weird sequence involving a baby. It's never, dead baby's never seen, but also the baby died and went into this other universe and died again because there's no one to look after it. Of course, it's only a baby. But she found this baby, rotting apparently, Van Maggotville, I believe it wasn't. Go by memory here. I haven't seen the film in a couple of weeks, but go by memory. Pretty horrific stuff. But we know if she saw the baby, just talking about it's bad enough. But the fact is, from the sounds of things, they were supposed to be in purgatory, and it was getting ready to take them on to another journey. We assume because this world that they were now in was going to, the sun was going to implode, and the world was going to go with it. They would have gone with it, not naturally. I'm assuming it's because you could argue it's because they committed suicide or something like that. Trouble is, the guy who the main man, our main scientist guy, decides finds out that those two should be together because basically she sleeps with both of them. By the way, the other guy's black. By the way, we mustn't forget that the other guy is black, but they both end up sleeping together. Then of course the black guy. She ends up sleeping with the black guy, and she ends up falling in love with the black guy. I remember this was the 80s, so that must have pissed off a lot of people. Still, the racial tensions were slightly. It was not knowing it was bad, but there's still slight racial tensions, especially in Australia, going on back then. So yeah, that must have pissed off. But I think it's quite interesting that they were still doing that. They were willing to do that. But you know. Who gives a shit? These days, who gives a shit? But back then, oh no, what the hell's going on? It might have been going on. I lived in the 80s. I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember anyone talking about the racial thing going. So maybe progress, I suppose, because I will admit nobody was talking about it in my school. They were too busy interested in talking about that ending and what the hell the ending was all about. Basically, he went back. He went into another universe. Into another parallel universe, another world, completely different. That's what the whole thing was. The ending to that, the whole concept ending is, which I would have a background to for me while I'm talking about this film, but unfortunately I haven't because I couldn't get the programmers to do it properly. So I don't have a cool background at the moment. I will eventually get a cool background, and I may well end up re-recording this in a bit. But I'm more professional because I really want to do a proper job, a better job of talking about this than I am here. So when I get more professional at doing this, I'm more used to talking on a microphone rather than in front of a camera. So it does get better. I'll hopefully come back to this film and do a better job. I can tell you is a number of movies, Moviedrone type movies that I've now got a list of, all thanks to just watching this one film that I want to talk about on the show for future Moviedrones. So there's that. Little bit of a tip there for you guys. What else? The director of The Quiet Earth went on to make some really strange movies. Well, strange decisions afterwards. He went commercial. He directed Under Siege 2, for crying out loud. That's Steven Seagal movie. The man who directed the excellent Quiet Earth directed Under Siege 2. He also directed Fortress 2. Apparently he made and Young Guns 2. So he made a lot of sequels. Well, I will admit, those three, Young Guns 2 is also the best. I've never actually seen Fortress 2, but I doubt it's. I know I ought to watch it at least once. I know that much. I've seen Fortress. I have never seen Fortress 2. The one with Christopher Lambert. People were going, what's Fortress 2? For Christopher Lambert. Or is it Lambert? Well, one of those. One of those. I call him Christopher Lambert. I'm probably completely. I love mispronouncing. You'll notice I love mispronouncing people's names. So apologies for that. Anyway, so Quiet Earth from 1985. Interesting bit of factoid for you about when it comes to the Quiet Earth. The story came about, although arguably the story came about because of another film from the 1950s about the end of the world and three people being left: one woman, one man, and one or two men, and one being black and one being white, and one white woman. I can't remember the title of the movie, but that we talked about in a future Moviedrone episode. A Twilight Zone episode was before that was a Twilight Zone episode, which might have been after the Twilight Zone episode, but so who knows, the Twilight Zone episode is the first one. The pilot episode of Twilight Zone is very similar in context to an idea of one man, only being one man left on Earth. When it comes, I mean, one on his own, no idea where anyone is, he once disappeared, kind of thing. If you can't go. Oh, what about I Am Legend? Because I Am Legend was that nobody had actually disappeared. They don't become vampires, or whatever the hell those things were in the Will Smith version, or whatever they become or mutants. In another version of the mutants and stuff like that, depending on which version you want to pick. But still, the story behind the Quiet Earth though is an interesting one. Which is claimed that they came up with the idea from the American going to New Zealand during the weekend. And he got there on a Sunday, and he found out the entire place was deserted. He tried to get into all these go shopping. The little shops were shut. Turns out New Zealanders like to have their weekends off. Everything shuts down. Nobody does anything at the weekend. At least in the 70s. Not sure if that's different now, but back then in the 70s, nobody gave a damn about I can't think of things about what I say in my life. If you want to know what I'm doing here. Yeah. But yeah, basically they did not like to work at the weekend. I can perfectly understand that. I'm working on Sunday. Well, I have to do this show, but I can't understand that. I don't like working on the weekend either. But these New Zealand. Well, I'm New Zealand, but yeah, he got the idea for the concept. What if not just one part, but what if the entire world was completely shut down? As in nothing. There's no place. He was the only person left alive. Is the concept. Was the concept. Admittedly, you could argue the Quiet Earth cheats that because you end up with about three people together instead of just one. If it had been me, I would have stuck with the same idea of it being three people instead of one, because I have actually read a novel where it generally was just one person. And eventually he ends up committing suicide. It's also the most boring books I've ever read in my life. So, pretty much if you just kept with one person the entire time, it would have got pretty boring. I can understand why they did a three-person situation instead of just one. Trust me, I've read the book version of that one. It was only read a couple of years ago. It was boring as fuck. So, unlike The Quiet Earth, which is excellent, the film at least, it is actually based on a book that I've never read. You can get it on Kindle, and I almost did buy it. For Kindle, ready for this review, so I could do a compare and contrast the book to film. Can't do that because the book was way too much. And I'm not paying that £6 something for a book that, but I'm basically got no money. So there's no way I was going to buy it. If it'd been £1, I had no problem. Well, I don't like to throw away money on something like. So I don't mind buying this because I know how good this is. I don't mind that, but when it comes to something that light, you're essentially just paying for light. For your Kindle, you're literally just paying for light. So yeah. Screw that. It's just a money making scheme. It's just a money making scheme. I don't give a shit what one says. Especially since the book's been out print for apparently decades. So no thank you. Anyway, what I lost for notes on The Quiet Earth. The soundtrack. The soundtrack is absolutely amazing and well worth listening to watching the film for alone. The soundtrack is freely available on YouTube. I have the links below. You'll be able to check it out. along with hopefully if I can find it the trailer for the Quiet Earth. We'll link for the trailer for the Quiet Earth. If you'd like to know more about the Quiet Earth, there's a loads of stuff that did a better job than I am, I must admit. So I know for a fact there's people talking about the film on a podcast or something. I'm trying to put the link down to below. I haven't watched it, had a chance to listen to it. But I get the feeling you really are. If it perks your interest, and you want to hear more about the film, best bet for you would be going to check the links below. From someone else some people actually done proper research for this film and gone much deeper than I've done. Since I only got 15 minutes to do this in. No, I'm over 15 minutes. Okay, so there you go. That's the Quiet Earth. Keep watching. Like this video. Suggest anything you want. Suggest how Moviedrones can get better. Please suggest anything. So leave a comment. Like this video. Subscribe, of course, for Moviedrone. This will be going every week. 2 more movie videos will be going up and be talking about films, and it will get better, of course. Eventually I'll be able to get back in and have nice little pictures of what we're film talking about instead of just this bare wall. So I'll have that too. So it's going to get better, but for now, this is what we get. Quiet Earth, well worth tracking down. I wouldn't suggest buying the film outright. I would suggest make sure you, as a rule, buying any film, it's always best to check it out before you buy. Try before you buy. That's my suggestion when it comes to being a film collector. Save you a shitload of money because you won't end up buying a film going, oh, that's a waste of money, which I've done a number of times myself. I will admit that. When you start losing that, when you start having no money, you start to realise you've got to be a bit more careful with what you're buying. So. Anyway, thank you for listening to my crazy first video. I'm so used to podcasting. Thank you for watching my very first video for Moviedrone. I hope you come back for more. I will now disappear because I've got to go and write the next review. I've got to record the next review for the last 2 films for this week, which I'm doing back to back. I'm doing together, and why am I doing those 2 together? Will all be revealed while I'm doing the review. Thank you for watching. So like, subscribe, and comment if you can. I'll speak to you guys again if you're watching these in order in a second. If not, hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed my chat. Thank you for watching.